So the Baltimore Ravens keep making moves. They are not done yet. Eric DeCosta has been doing a phenomenal job building this roster this offseason. Lamar Jackson hooks up with the long ball in practice. Jaire Alexander has 2 interceptions. John Harbaugh talks about how he's transformed and is bringing the energy into this locker room. We got 2 free agent additions, some practice updates, injury updates, and more, man. So welcome into another episode of Ravens Reports. It's your guy Noah here with For the Flock, as always, bringing you guys our top 5 news reports and storylines coming out of our Baltimore Ravens today. So actually today, we're going to go rapid fire, quick little update video. In just a little bit, we're going to have the Baltimore Ravens live stadium practice. We're going to have a breakdown on that as well, and much more content rolling for you guys. So make sure you got that subscribe and notification bell on. And as always, smash the like button if you've been getting any value out of these episodes of Ravens Reports, trying to get you all of your Baltimore Ravens news and information as quick as possible in a nice little wrapped up package for you guys. So let's go ahead and dive into the content. At number 1, Lamar Jackson. Check out this long ball. Hooking up with Keith Kirkwood. No surprise here with this type of performance and play from Lamar Jackson. It's expected at this point. A 2-time MVP, should be 3-time MVP. We know that. This Ravens receiver core is really deep, and it just highlights, to me, this throw highlights the battle that's really going on with that wide receiver 5, 6, and 7 position. If the Ravens decide to even carry 6 to 7 receivers, there has been years they've had 5, there's been years they've had 6, and very rarely they've had 7. But LeJohntay Wester is in the mix for that wide receiver 6 spot. We know Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Walker, Talon Wallace. Those 5 are making the roster. They are, really cemented into those positions. But LeJohntay Wester, 6th-round draft pick. He's probably also in the lead for the returner spot. So, I'm thinking he makes the roster. Then you also have Dayton Wade making plays and long balls from Lamar. Keith Kirkwood making plays. These guys are going to have a big opportunity in just a few days in the first preseason game to show what they're really made of in live game action and get some good reps. At number 2, Brent Urban was actually just brought back, free agent addition, been with the Ravens on and off a lot the last few years. He's actually going to wear Michael Pierce's number 58. If you guys remember, he was really close friends with Michael Pierce, and they were always hanging out together in the locker room and on the sideline making jokes and having a good time, lifting the spirits of the locker room. Michael Pierce, we know he retired. He went out, but Brent Urban decided to come back. Here's what John Harbaugh had to say on that addition.
It came about because I think he still wants to play, and maybe he came to that conclusion. And I know Eric has been talking to him for a few months, and it was in the works for a while, and he played well last year. So as long as he can still play and help us, he's a great guy, great kind of guy you want on your team. Gives us really good depth in there. I'm a little surprised he's wearing 58. It's a different jersey probably. It'll be the same exact jersey, but that's also very cool.
It'll be interesting to see how this shakes out because I wasn't expecting the Baltimore Ravens to carry 6 defensive linemen, like down defensive linemen playing those 5 tech, 3 tech, 1 tech, and 0 nose positions. I was expecting more of a 5-man rotation there, and then maybe carrying 6 outside linebackers because of how deep they are at that position this year with Adisa Isaac, Tavius Robinson, obviously Mike Green, Kyle Van Noy, Odafe Owe. Then you also have Ajabo and other guys that have been making plays in training camp and throughout the offseason as well. So it'll be interesting to see if they put Brent Urban on the practice squad and they have him elevated, or if they keep Urban on the active roster and, let one of the outside linebackers go. It'll be interesting to see how they work out that roster juggling right there. But at number 3, Jaire Alexander, we've been talking about him a lot ever since the Ravens signed him. Just like it's a hand-in-glove fit. I still can't believe the Baltimore Ravens got one of the premier corners in the prime of his career for $6 million. That just doesn't happen. However, Jaire Alexander had higher offers to go sign elsewhere, but he wanted to come to Baltimore because he wanted to compete for a championship, and the Ravens are championship contenders. He also wanted to play with his former Louisville teammate and Lamar Jackson, and he also wanted to pair up with one of the NFL's best secondaries that was already really good. Now you have Jaire Alexander, Nate Wiggins, Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton, and Malachi Starks are all first-round selections. Talented dudes in the prime of their career, all together in the same secondary. It's going to be fun to watch. He had 2 interceptions in camp the other day. He's been a lightning rod with energy. He had 1 pick on Lamar. stepped in front of DeAndre Hopkins. The other pick was on Cooper Rush. Here's what John Harbaugh had to say about the energy he's
He's
bringing.
in the weight room at 6 o'clock every morning, so and he's lighting it up and bringing energy. You know, he's just that kind of a guy. But here's an example. So, I showed a clip today where one of the young receivers or one of the young DBs got an interception before the day off, and he didn't run it back to the house. And we had been showing these clips of all of our guys, Ed Reed and Dwan Landry and all these different guys, Jimmy Smith picking it off and making good runs and stuff like that. And we want to encourage our guys, and he didn't run it out. I just told him, I said, man, what a guy like me who was not a good player would have given to be in an NFL practice. If I'd have gotten an interception, I'd definitely be running that thing back to the house. So Jaire, did you see what he did? He picks one off on the sideline. When we got this field's run this way, then we got another field run this way. So instead of running it back that way, he went on the other field and ran it all the way back. Did you see that? About 130 yards, actually, probably what it was. So that's the kind of energy he brings.
At number 4, speaking of these DBs, Nate Wiggins is making a big jump. He talks about how the things have shifted this year for him, and it's going to be very, very dangerous. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, just like seeing the route concept, getting to know just like the NFL better, and just concepts of the routes, how deep the route is. So I feel like last year I was just playing with my talent and what God would give me. So this year, it's gonna be a totally different ball game this year. I know like the routes, how they want to do the routes, how they want to run the routes. So now it's like it's just slowing down everything going to me.
So he says, I was playing with my talent, just trusting, my speed, my quickness, athleticism, instincts. This year he's like, I actually know the routes better, have a better feel for the game. Man, that's good news, because he had a great year last year, and then you put on that the mental side of the game, and then the fact that you added Alexander, like Jaire and Wiggins on the outside with Marlon Humphrey in the slot, and then like these linebackers and these edge players. Man, this defense, I legitimately think at the end of the year they're going to finish number 1 in many categories. This defense is the real deal. We just got to pray for health, keep these guys healthy. Jaire Alexander, can't believe we got him. Man, the prime of his career, 28 years old, I think he is, right? Dude has just always been one of the best cornerbacks when he's on the field. He's battled with injuries, but he's doing well so far. I'm excited about Jaire and the rest of the secondary. At number 5, the Baltimore Ravens. They just signed another free agent in Dearest Johnson. This dude has not had it easy. Like, he's always been on the back end of rosters, but anytime he's ever had an opportunity, he's been ready, in shape, runs like a man with his hair on fire. Like, he's a hard worker. He's been looking for an opportunity, and he's a vet in the NFL, knows how to, step in for pass pro, knows how to run the ball hard and get those grinded out yards, knows how to catch the ball out of the backfield. Dearest Johnson, do I think he makes the active roster? Probably not, but would he be a great guy to keep on the practice squad in case we had an injury at the running back position? Absolutely, and I think it's a great addition for the Ravens. If you missed out on it, they needed running back depth because running back reserve Marcus Major is dealing with a concussion. Plus, Derrick Henry and Justice Hill aren't going to play in preseason, so Johnson should get plenty of snaps to put out good tape. Whether that's keep staying on the practice squad with the Ravens or getting an active roster spot somewhere else in the NFL. The Ravens needed running backs to play in preseason. They're not going to start Henry or Justice Hill. However, I do expect them to let Keaton Mitchell get some reps out there and kind of showcase what he can do and get more comfortable as he's worked back from that injury now. Also, if you guys missed it, Isaiah Likely did officially have his surgery on that foot. So he said, hey, the timeline starts now. He says, all glory to God. It could have been a lot worse, but luckily it's a short-term injury. He'll be back early in the season, and I'm really excited about what Likely and these weapons are going to do in his passing game this year. Also, if you guys missed it as well, the Baltimore Ravens released Tyler Loop's competition, which was the undrafted free agent Hoyland, the kicker that's been battling with Loop throughout camp. They officially released. They needed a roster spot, I believe, for Dearest Johnson because of that injury that happened to Marcus Major with that concussion. So, plus the addition of Brent Urban, they needed that spot. So, Tyler Loop is going to get some reps, a lot of reps in preseason, and John Harbaugh said it comes down to that. Like, if he does well in preseason, the job's his, but that's ultimately what it's going to come down to. So, Man, I told you this would be a quick one. Just wanted to make sure you had all your updates and news. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Keep your eye out for some more content coming very, very shortly. We're going to talk about the possibility of Micah Parsons and some other things that would just be fun to talk about. And not just Micah Parsons, but the very real reality that the Ravens will probably make a big splash at the trade deadline like they have done or have attempted to do the last few years as they were contenders. We're going to talk about that more, man. So I love you guys. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.
Ray, when he wasn't looking, he ran me over.